What's happening, YouTube? Imperial Diecast here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the scale 124 Ferrari 355 Spider by Maisto. Now this car is the successor to the Ferrari 348 and was succeeded by the Ferrari 360. It was built from the mid-90s to the late 90s. We're talking about 1994 to 1999. I assume that this model made by Maisto is also approximately that old. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this model car is the oldest model car that I have ever owned. Not in terms of how many years ago it was made, but in terms of how many years I've had this with me. This car has been with me since pretty much my entire life. I mean, I think I got this car sometime during my childhood. I think I was like 8 or 10, I don't know. And I really have no idea when I got it and how I got it. I think it was a present, maybe for Christmas or something, or maybe my parents just bought it for me one day. Or maybe I even got this from a relative. I have no idea anymore. That's how old it is. In any case, when I started collecting diecast cars, which is approximately a year and a half ago, I was surprised to find this in my toy box, and in such a good condition to boot. You'd think that a kid that has played with this car and other cars would have absolutely smashed it to bits, right? But I was happy that it survived my childhood. Of course, I did clean the dust and everything off, and I polished it a little bit as well, which is why it's looking so good. I'm happy that I can add it to my collection. Before I got into diecast cars, I actually considered this simply a bigger car in my collection, a red car, and then when I was like 15 or 16 years old, I remembered that I had a Ferrari that was bigger than the other Matchbox and Hot Wheels small cars that I had. So yeah, this is basically my first actual diecast model car, and it has a little bit of a nostalgia to it. Anyway, enough talk, let's start with the review. So you're looking at the front of the car here, and you can see that it has these classic retro headlights that sort of push up and are otherwise hidden. There's actually an interesting history to this light design, and the reason why they don't make this anymore these days is because there used to be legislation back in the old era where you couldn't design aesthetic headlights to the car body itself. They always had to be like bog standard round or square headlights, and so the car designers then considered hiding them so that they would only pop out when they were needed during the night, and otherwise could design this aesthetic car body. Then, of course, what happened was that these headlights tended to... I mean, considering the fact that if you have like a mechanism on a car where you need something to work so that the headlights can even pop open, that's one of the first things that then will break. And so you're left in a situation where it's dark and your car's headlights doesn't work because the whole mechanism isn't working properly. And so that became dangerous, and that's probably the reason why you no longer see these types of lights around today. Perhaps the best feature about the scale model car is the fact that despite being in scale 124, there's a lot of things that open. Not just the doors or the front hood, but also the rear engine cover opens. So it's quite nice and rare to see everything open on a scale 124 car. I believe this is back in the day when the makers of these cars wouldn't be too business-minded and want you to buy the scale 118s by artificially limiting some of the features of their scale 124 cars. The Maisto is the only 124 scale version of the Ferrari 355. There's also a coupe which has a closed top, and I think this is the only color it's available in, which is Rosso Corsa Red. Looking at the front of the car, what's nice is that the front grille is perforated. It has a Ferrari logo that's embossed, and if you look at the fog lights, they have two different colors, one for the fog light and one for the blinker. You got your Ferrari logo on the front of the car, done nicely. And of course the headlights that won't open. However, this is also to be expected. The next thing we can do is open the front. As you can see, there's not much to see here except for a small toolbox. Taking a look at the side of the car, You can see that the more aggressive grille-like air intake of the predecessor, the Ferrari 348, has been replaced by something more subtle. Unfortunately, this car does not come with brake discs or brake calipers. Now I have to admit that I did do some painting myself to improve the optics of this car, and one of the things that I did was paint the Ferrari logos on the rims. This car actually comes with embossed Ferrari logos on the rims, however they are silver. So what I basically did was apply some yellow paint around it, and then with a black marker make sure that these Ferrari prancing horses are visible. You can see that there's a fuel cap hinted at on the car body. The car also comes with an embossed blinker, which I painted yellow. Looking at the back of the car, what I like is the fact that the prancing horse is embossed and silver. It also says F355 on the rear license plate. You got your lights, which are looking good, and you got your quad exhaust, which is completely silver, but I used a black Sharpie to essentially create the holes. The rear engine cover is also done quite nicely. You can see the Ferrari logo and the individual rills through which you can see the engine underneath. The rear engine cover can be opened and you can see the engine in all its glory. This is the car's V8 3.5-liter engine producing 375 brake horsepower. It has 5 valves per cylinder, and this is also the reason why this car is called the Ferrari 355. You have the 3.5-liter engine with 5 valves per cylinder, so 355. Now I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that the engine is actually in quite a coarse texture and completely silver. In real life, this engine is black. However, what I like about the engine is the fact that it has depth. As you can see, it goes all the way down. You can see the 2 engine blocks and the air boxes. Now let's take a look at the car's interior. It's actually completely black, but I used some silver paint to color in the buttons that are all embossed, as well as the gear shifter. There's no Ferrari logo on the steering wheel, so I had to improvise. However, what we do have is a sticker on the instrument panel showing both the rev meter and the speedometer. Taking a look at the bottom of the car, you can see the nice engine detail extending all the way to the bottom. At the same time, we can also see that it says Ferrari F355 scale 124 Maisto shell made in China. What's also nice to see is that the individual tires have all these rails that give them additional detail. All in all, I have to say that I'm quite happy with this car. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to see more. This is Imperial Diecast signing out.
Thank you.